What's up, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Before I get started, let me just thank everyone for helping me reach 340 subbers. Thank you guys so much for that. That being said, let's get started with the reason why we're here. Today is a very special one, being August the 22nd, and you know what that means? Today is the day of the Usos, the ones. Now, I usually wear wrestling uniform to this, but since I don't have anything in reference to the bloodline except for a Roman Reigns t-shirt, I thought I'd just wear bloodline red and look halfway like the Usos today. Hope it works out. But that being said, thank you guys so much for joining. And also, be sure to check out my community posts where I post birthday pictures tributing other wrestlers as well, and GIFs depending on who it is. That being said, let's get started with today's review on my top 10 favorite Uso matches. We have to start at number 10 with the Usos versus the New Age Outlaws on an episode of Monday Night Raw on March the 3rd, 2014. This would be the night where the Usos would become their first WWE Tag Team Championships, defeating the New Age Outlaws. As fun fact, Jay Uso pinned Billy Gunn years before Billy Gunn went into playing with scissors. Next, we have, speaking of Jay, at number 9, we have at SmackDown 2021, we have Jay Uso winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Now, usually the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal will take place at WrestleMania, but due to circumstances with the decade coming in, things change. And WWE decided that instead of having it at WrestleMania, they're going to have it on SmackDown. And Jay Uso was the first to win a SmackDown Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. At number 8, we have the Usos in a fatal four-way match at their second WrestleMania against Ricochet and Aleister Black. 24 hours after they had a match, a 5-star with the Raiders, alongside with the Bar and alongside Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, this match was actually made to be a punishment for the Usos forfeiting the gauntlet match with Kofi Kingston in it, a match set up by the villainous Mr. McMahon at the time. However, despite all of that, the Usos overcame three other tag teams and retained the SmackDown Tag Team Championships on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, defying the authority of Mr. McMahon. And of course, after that, they went to watch the man that they defended win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship later on that night. So, a great night for the Usos to win the championships and then watch another person and celebrate it. Number 7, speaking of the Bar, we have the Usos versus the Bar at at Survivor Series 2017. Let me first off just say Survivor Series 2017 was awesome, in my personal opinion. A lot of great SmackDown versus Raw matches, but this is one of them. This was the Bar representing Raw and the Usos representing SmackDown. And this was a match after Jay had did this awesome tag. They have this thing that when they make a tag, they would make this tag in the unique way in which Jimmy would tag Jay in while flying onto Cesaro, as Jay would do the Uso splash onto Sheamus. Fun fact, once again, it was Jay that got the pinfall, not just for the Usos, but to represent SmackDown. And I noticed that Byron Saxton said something about super kick parties. This was way before AEW and me finding out about what are they called again? I keep forgetting. Is darn it, what are they called? The Young Bucks. Speaking of the Young Bucks, I want to ask you guys, since we have super kick parties and whatnot, the Young Bucks, AEW's The Young Bucks versus WWE's The Usos. Who would win that match? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, we have that being a great match. We have at number 6 Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, God rest his soul, versus the Usos in a best 2 out of 3 falls at Battleground. What a way to open up the pay per view with these two. Luke Harper would get the first fall on Jimmy. Jay would get the next fall with the roll up. And despite seeing, first of all, I ain't never seen nothing like what Eric Rowan did, superplexing both Usos at the same time off the top rope. I've never seen anything like that before ever. But Eric did it, and despite all of that, it took a double splash onto Luke Harper to win and retain the tag team championships. And fun fact, they would become tag team of the year in 2014. Next on this list, next on this list, we have the Usos versus RK Bro on an episode of Friday Night SmackDown, May the 20th of last year. This would be the night where the Usos would have an incredible match with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle and would win thanks to a little help from Roman Reigns, would win the match and become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Now, the Usos were champions of SmackDown while RK Bro were champions of Raw, and this was a title unification match that they would win. Unfortunately, this would be the last time we would see Randy Orton due to a post match attack that involved the Usos and Roman Reigns that had a kid crying. Next on this list at number 4, we have the Usos versus another tag team rival, The New Day, at Hell in a Cell 2017 on SmackDown's representation. Now, the previous year it was Raw. That year it would be SmackDown hosting Hell in a Cell. Now, in this match, we saw trombones, we saw New Day colorful kendo sticks, we even saw special spears that didn't break the cage, and we saw one of the Usos get bound up by kendo sticks to the wall. We even saw, speaking, it's funny how the Usos talk about lockdown and the Uso penitentiary because Xavier Woods underwent Uso penitentiary interrogation, Uso style, as he was cuffed and caned with sticks. Of course, Woods was very defiant despite all of that fighting while cuffed. However, after taking a double Uso splash through chairs, guess who? Jay Uso got the pin for the team. Jay was always the better Uso. Just kidding. But in any event, next on this list at number 3, we have the Usos versus another rivalry in tag team action, the Street Profits. And boy, did we get the smoke. Now, I should put the match from Money in the Bank last year on this list, but as great as it was, I don't want to say, I can't, you know how when Christopher, I'm going to say Christopher, remember when Christopher was a great technical wrestler, but due to what happened in 2007, nobody wants to remember his name? It was this scenario. It's not like that, but the thing about this match at Money in the Bank was Money in the Bank, awesome match, but a controversial ending because Montez Ford had his shoulders up. Also, fun fact, when Luke Harper was rolled up at 2014, it looked like Luke Harper had his right shoulder up. Just saying. But due to that controversy, we had to settle it the right way. And the match on this list would be SummerSlam 2022 of last year with Jeff Jarrett as the referee, as we would finally settle the score. Now, because this match was so epic and both men were very resilient, Montez Ford got a little bit frustrated and exchanged words with Jeff Jarrett. But regardless of that, the match was still good. And due to a 1D, which is tribute to the Dudley Boys, this time Jimmy got the pin, but Jimmy would pin Angelo Dawkins and retain the SmackDown, or should I say the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. At number 2, we have the Usos, along with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, versus the Brutes, Drew, and I believe Kevin Owens. Now, this took place at the first ever WWE Survivor Series War Games. Usually, War Games would take place 24 hours prior to Survivor Series on the NXT pay per view special. But but that time WWE allowed it, and so it was a good match. And the reason why I am putting this match on the USO review top ten review is because, fun fact, Jay Uso, the better Uso, started the match, and it was Jay Uso, yes, with help from Sami Zayn, who would get the pin, doing the Uso splash and pinning Kevin Owens. So great stamina, Jay Uso. So, what is the number one match on this list? As promised, the number one match on this list would be the Usos versus Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank previously from this year. Why? Because it was at this very event from earlier this year, overseas in London, where All In is going to be, where Jay Uso became the first person in three years to defeat, to pin Roman Reigns in tag team action. Now, the Usos were stacked and pinned, just like Edge and Bryan were at WrestleMania 37. 37. Yeah, 37. They were stacked and pinned like Edge and Bryan at WrestleMania 37. However, they came back from that. We saw Roman and Solo go for a spike and spear at the same time. They came back from that. I was expecting, I'll be honest with you guys, because of what we've seen, I was expecting Roman Reigns to win the match. I've never, ever, I hope this doesn't make WWE Empire mad, but I was actually happy to be surprised because Roman was becoming villainous. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a huge fan of Roman Reigns' accomplishment. It's just that I wish he would win a match on his own. That's all I want to see. I just want to see him win something on his own. When's the last time Roman won on his own? Dun, 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 dun. I think it was his match on SmackDown with Riddle. It's been that long. Last year. Jesus. But in any event, Jay was the guy who got the pin for the team and became the first person to pin Roman Reigns in the Civil War in the family at Money in the Bank. I had to put that match as number one, and I said I would, for those of you who have been following. But let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite Uso match? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check out my community posts and see some cool things there as well. But until next time, as far as I'm concerned, Jay is the one. But then again, regardless, happy birthday to the Usos. It's all the time I have for you today, and I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling. Peace out. Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary.